Myself, my name is Randy Swartz. I'm a district account manager for CoderZ. I've been with CoderZ since our launch about 4 years ago. Joining me is the competition master Yossi Gershon, or as I'd like to call him, El Jefe. You may, you may remember him because of his electric energy announcing the playoffs on Twitch in his fancy gaming chair. Please, Yossi, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, thanks, Randy. Hey, everyone. I'm Yossi. You might have seen me in some of the videos or the broadcast. I'm the one who loves to talk about the games and everything that has to do with CoderZ League. I'm with CoderZ for about 2 years, and I'll be joining Randy today to explain to you how the competition works. And if you have any questions, go ahead and write them in the Q&A.
All right, Yos, let's go to the first slide. So welcome everybody. You've made it to the 2022 CoderZ League webinar. Congratulations. This is going to be the first installment. There'll be many more, and of course, all the recordings will either be sent to you if you've signed up, or will be located on our CoderZ League website. So if your colleagues or there are other schools wanting to join, other schools in your district, other neighboring districts, please, the more the merrier. And let them know that they didn't miss anything. There's still time. And all of the dates are shared. Everything you need to do, registration, we'll talk about it later, is on the CoderZ League website. So that would be coderzleague.com. All right. So CoderZ League, what is it? The CoderZ League is a web-based gamified robotics competition designed to engage and welcome students and teachers of all skill levels. Our simulated robotics and gamification is so powerful, in fact, that over the years, we've developed partnerships with companies like Lego, Amazon, and looking at the slide right now, I'm reminded that this competition is international. For instance, last year we had winners from Pennsylvania, Ghana, Brazil. And finally, it's important to mention that the CoderZ League will run on basic Chromebooks or laptops. It will not run on tablets or phone devices. Okay, next slide. So what's different about the CoderZ League? What separates us from other competitions? All students with us will get an opportunity to contribute and participate. Every student with us gets behind the driver's seat to code their very own robot. Collaboration's encouraged, working together to solve missions, for instance. It's not cheating. Okay, so this is the type of competition we'd like to have. We want everybody collaborating, students, teachers helping out. And please, Yossi, go to the next slide. So what kind of impact does this style of competition have on the students? Well, I want to share an experience of mine. 2019, we held a competition. The finals were held at the New Jersey Institute. Sorry,
Yeah, I wanted to.
we're
Yeah, I
having
wanted to show
some
the.
issues. Go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to show the video. It was, but for some reason, what I'm sharing is not showing. So I'm just gonna reshare for a second, and I'm sure everybody can see the video.
Okay.
So
No
just
problem.
a quick
These
second.
things happen. No
Yeah, no
problem. All
problem.
these things happen.
Can you see the video right now? Can you see the screen?
Yep, I can see it. Did you share the audio?
Yeah. So
Great.
should I go ahead and play it?
Go ahead. Let's see it.
Então, o CoderZ, eu acho que a gente auxiliou bastante na resolução de problemas e também programação.
And one word collaboration is a really great way to describe the whole league as a whole.
CoderZ for me was a lifesaver. I'm not going to teach robotics without it anymore. It's just making me a better programmer and making me a better teacher.
CoderZ is every STEM teacher's dream.
Wow, that got me so pumped.
It's infectious. I couldn't help but not dance to that one. Good job on the soundtrack for whoever chose that one. So what kind of impact does this style of competition have on the students? Well, I want to share an experience of mine. 2019, we held our competition finals at the New Jersey Institute of Technology, and we had a team from an alternative school for at-risk youth. And there was a student on the spectrum who communicated through violence. There was a student who had family problems that you never want to hear about. And the teacher of this team said that the kids never talked to each other until they started at that time the cyber robotics competition. Now we call it the CoderZ League. It was her secret sauce. So if this teacher hadn't told me, and Yossi, please go to this back to the slides if you can. If this teacher hadn't told me that these students were part of this program, I would have never guessed. And that's how well they were working together. So I just wanted that to sink in and really just let you know that this competition, it's not only going to teach your students the skills that they need to have right now for when they're not in high school anymore or after college, but it's also going to teach them about working together in a team. It's going to teach them about collaboration skills, being creative, developing grit, and these are the type of things that you will also need in the workforce. So I'm going to hand it over to my colleague now, Yossi, who is going to go on to the next slide.
Right. Thank you so much, Randy. Great. So let's talk about CoderZ League and how it works. I'm sure you have a lot of questions. We're going to breeze through it, and then I'll do a quick demo. So first of all, CoderZ League has 3 divisions, novice, junior, and pro. Each division is something that we developed in order to give your students the best experience they can. These divisions, the numbers that you see, I mean, the age groups, they're totally up to you as teachers. We've had students from lower grades doing junior and pro, and we've had students from higher grades doing novice. So it's totally up to you. It not only has to do with the students' age, but also their level in programming. We've had students who've had a lot of experience with competitions like First Lego League, who really enjoyed joining straight into the pro division. So it not only has it's very much up to you as teachers and the way you see your students, how they handle it. But generally speaking, the novice division is meant for the elementary level. Students code in Blockly, which is very similar to Scratch. It's something that Google developed, and it requires absolute no knowledge. So if your students are 4th graders that have never had anything to do with coding or robotics, this is a great way to start. This is a great, when I was, before I started learning coding in the university, I was very scared of it. And when I've seen CoderZ, I was like, if I had this, I would have been way less intimidated by coding because it's such a great leeway into coding. The junior division is meant for the middle school level. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful thing for students who have previously competed in the novice division or students who are around First Lego League level, students with some experience. But we've also had a lot of students with 0 coding experience doing junior. The reason is we have something we call the training camp. So a training camp is essentially prior to the league start. We'll talk about the schedule in a second, but essentially a month before the league starts, there's a time frame where you and your students can do a training camp. And the training camp is a set of missions where your students can get the hang of everything they need to know to compete in CoderZ League. So they get a full month to practice before they start doing the missions that count toward points and the stages of the competition. So there's no worries there. Um, you can let your students get the hang of CoderZ with the training camp, and the training camp stays available throughout the whole competition. So even if you join a bit late, you can still go through the training camp and have your students learn the ropes throughout. So we have you set with everything you need, no matter what the division is, to get going. The Pro Division, I would say the biggest change in the Pro Division is that it allows either Blockly or Python coding. And I think the greatest thing about it is that it's up for you as the teacher to decide, and also for students. So a student can start doing Python, and if they are struggling, they can move to Blockly, and it's completely seamless in our platform. They literally press a button and they can change the coding language that they use. So it's it's very approachable, and they can start, and there's no they don't have to commit into Python to do it all the way, so they can change midway. So these are our three divisions, and you can choose to join whichever you see fit for your students. As for the timeline and the structure, so the competition starts officially on October 12th. The first stage is called the preliminaries, but you as teachers and your students gain access all the way on September 12th. And as I said, September 12th, they get access to the training camp only. And it's a time where you can also kind of log into CoderZ, create your team, invite your students. We also have this very cool feature where you can choose a team flag, which is also a part of the competition, and a team name. So you have a full month to prepare before the competition officially begins. And that, as I said, starts on September 12th. October 12th is when the competition begins, and the students get access to the first stage, which we call the preliminaries. After it, there's the group stage on December 15. It's important to note that the novice division, as I displayed before, the novice division only has the preliminaries as the first stage, and the other divisions move on to later stages. It's just from research that we've done, it seems like for the novice division, the intensity of the competition, preliminaries are more than enough to get your students into coding. So if you're in junior and pro, you'll get a bit more stages, but the major part of the competition is the preliminaries. It's 5 weeks. It starts on October 12th. Group stage is when students move on to play against what we call our AI. They play against our robot that plays against them. They need to, or rather, I would say not against, but with our AI, and they need to score as many points as possible. Then there is the playoffs, and then there's the World Finals, which you see on Twitch. You probably see in videos. Also in the promo, it showed a little bit of that. It's going to be a live broadcast, and the teams who won the playoff play against teams from every place around the world. Don't worry, we'll dive into each stage individually. So if you have any questions, don't worry. I'm sure I'm going to talk on all of these bullets. So the first stage is called the preliminaries. The preliminaries is a stage where the teams complete a series of missions and challenges. Missions are essentially activities where your students control a robot. We'll have a demo later, but they control a robot. They make the robot complete a set of missions, like the robot needs to get to a certain point, or they need to get a certain object into the other side of the field. There are a bunch of games that the student complete, and every single mission that they complete, they get 100 points. For the challenge, the challenge is the final mission. Every game, there are 3 games in every division, and one that I'll talk about a bit later. And every game has a set of missions, about 10 to 15 missions. And the missions, the way we built them is scaffolded as well. So even if your students never touched a training camp and they start straight into the missions, the way the missions are built is they assume the students have no prior knowledge, and the first mission would usually be just press play and you already win the mission, because the first mission is like getting the hang of driving and learning the ropes of this specific game. So if there's, for example, a math game that I'll show you later, whenever the robot goes over a number, they score this amount of points. So we want to show that to the students. So the first mission is just get to the target, get 100 points, win the mission. The second mission is going to be something a bit more difficult, maybe make a turn. Then the third mission is like maybe you need to plan a route for your robot. Then a fourth mission might include something like multiplication. Then the fifth might do some more complicated routes. And then throughout these missions, these individual missions, the student learn the aspects of the games. Then another game might be the robot playing something like golf, and they need to push a ball into a putt. So the first mission might be something like, just drive forward, push a ball, and the hole is right there. Then a more complicated mission down the line might be like you have 3 different balls and you need to make the decision as of where to push these balls, and each one gives a different amount of points. There's time involved. So the first, as I said, the missions are essentially we teach the students how to play the game and make the most of it. The challenge is where we kind of test the students' knowledge so far. The challenge takes everything that they learned so far and they need to apply it. So let's say, for example, our math game in the novice division. If we talked about, very simple missions where they use addition, subtraction, multiplication, then the challenge, they will have a bunch of tiles and they need to plan a very complicated route to understand how they get the most amount of points. The way the challenge works is the student with the highest amount of points represents their team in the challenge. They have a leaderboard, and the number of points that the team get is decided through the student with the most points. So there's a lot of different strategies that you as teachers and your teams can apply. As for missions, every mission grants 100 points, and you want all your students to go through all the missions. If you have the teams in CoderZ League are teams of up to 6 students, so let's say you have 5 students, 5 students doing the same mission grant your team a total of 500 points. If they all do all the mission, then it's tens of thousands of points. So you always want to get that. And also, we talk about points, but don't forget that in this journey, the students learn a lot about coding and robotics, and it's super, super fun and engaging way to learn. There are a bunch of different strategies that you can do. Some teams want all the students to complete all the missions before they move to the challenges. And other teams want to have certain students jump straight into the challenges. The way it works is that all the missions are open from the first second the league is open. They don't have to complete a mission to move on to the next one. So if they have a difficult time with a certain mission, they can always skip it, and certain students can move on straight into the challenges. There's no problem there. The preliminaries, they work gradually. So the first 2 weeks, they only have access to the missions. As I said, all the missions from the very first second. After 2 weeks, they get access to the challenges. And after 4 weeks, this is what I talked about the game for, is the final challenge. So for junior and pro division, there's a game called the Final Challenge. It's a much more complicated game, which the competition will focus on in later stages. For junior, we have a game called Basketbot, where students can control robot, and they have three platforms in the air, and they need to pour liquid into it. In Topplebot, you've seen it in the promo. It's a game where the robot shoot bolts at balls, and they are on top of a pivoting platform, and they need to make sure they're stabilized. These games are tough, but once students get the hang of it, it's very rewarding. It's a team effort. These final challenges are something you want your whole team to work towards. So yeah, this is the preliminaries. The top 64 teams from each region are going to move on to the next stage. Now let's talk about regions. So the way the competition works is once your team joins, it will be assigned to a region. The region can be either a country, if you're from anywhere around the world. Let's say if I'm from Brazil, then I will join the Brazil region, assuming there are enough teams from Brazil, but it's usually the case. So there will be a Brazil region, and all of my teams will play against other teams from Brazil. If I'm from any state in the U.S., I will be assigned to a region that is the state from that state, from all teams from that state. So let's say I'm in a team from New Jersey, and I'll play against other teams from New Jersey. All teams that all regions that did not have enough teams are assigned to either U.S. Open. So let's say there are only 10 teams from a specific state, let's say Wisconsin only has 10 teams, then all these 10 teams will move on to the USA Open region. And if there are teams from the rest of the world, they join to the international region. So these two regions are usually our biggest regions, international region and USA Open region. And the rest of the teams go to regions, as I said, according to country or state if they're from the US. And the most fun thing is once you get to the World Finals, all these winners from these individual regions go on to play against each other. So it's like the New Jersey region winner against Brazil regional winner against Hong Kong regional winner against Texas regional winner. So you have all of these teams from all around the world come into play with each other. So this was the preliminaries. As I said,
hey Yossi, I've noticed that you didn't mention novice on here. Can you explain why?
right, that's a great point. The novice division, as for the novice division, the preliminaries is the final stage of the competition. So after preliminaries, all teams from novice get their certificate, and they essentially finish the competition. For junior and pro, they move on to the group stage, and let's talk about the group stage.
So no group stage, no playoffs for novice, just to be clear.
And no world finals. They get to do the preliminary stage, and after talking to teachers after last year, they're very happy with it. It's more than enough for elementary school students. It's already very intense.
Thank you for clarifying for the viewers today. Thank you.
No, it's a great point, and thank you for letting me know. As for the group stage, so in the group stage, just like Major League Soccer or football, whatever your poison is. So in the group stage, all teams from that move on from the preliminaries, they are divided into groups of 4. And here, now this time, they play only the final challenge that I mentioned before. Here, you want the top 2 teams. The top 2 teams will move on to the next stage. and the teams to score points, they play with our AI. So let's say they play basketball. They want to score as many points as possible to be on the top two and move on to the next stage. It's very simple. Two teams move on, two teams do not. So this is the group stage. 64 teams move on to the stage from the preliminaries, and they play together on the final challenge. In this stage, it's less individual work and more team effort. So these challenges are very complicated, and a lot of time you want certain students to focus on different aspects of the final challenge. You have a student working on let's say we play basketball. You want one student to create the code that's in charge of planning a route for the robot. You want one student in charge of a code that creates these questions as of the platforms. So there are different aspects to the challenge, and you usually want a bunch of students to work on all these different aspects. From there, half the team, so 32 teams, move on to the playoffs. The playoffs is a stage where students play head to head. So if you can see here, so in the first round, the second place from group 1 plays against first place from group 16. So all the teams are thrown into the brackets, as we call them, and they play a set of matches. Each round, half the teams move on. So like top 32, all the teams for the group stage move on, and then half of them move on to top 16, then quarterfinals, then semis, and then the finals. They play once again the final challenge, but this time they play it with another team's robot. So we've developed this unique team versus team interface where teams actually play with one robot on one side against another team's robot on the other, and it's completely virtual online field that's very, very modern, and it's very similar to what the students play at their home. So it's very, very engaging and very fun. And this is where the adrenaline is at its highest. The winner from the playoffs will move on to the World Finals and will represent their region in the World Finals. And we will talk to them. We'll probably interview them for the live broadcast that we do. We often talk to the teachers. Teams who make it to the World Finals are already, on a league of their own. The World Finals is obviously the pinnacle. Who's the Sensum guy? No, I'm kidding. We're doing a live broadcast in a studio, and the teams.
I laughed.
Yeah, the winning teams from every region play with each other, and we do it everything live. The winners of the World Finals will be put into the Hall of Fame, and they will receive a trophy all the way wherever they are around the world. They will receive a trophy, and it's a very prestigious place to be. This happens, if I'm not mistaken, on January 5th of 2023. So this is the very last part of the competitions, and teams who make it here, congratulations. I think, right. Let's talk a bit about what's new, even though I know that a lot of teams are joining the competition for the first time. I just want to briefly talk a bit about what we added this year. So the first thing we added is game rotation, meaning this year we're adding 3 new games, 1 new game for each division. We have a Facebook group, so go ahead and join it right now as we speak, because a lot of teachers are there and you can ask them questions if you have any, and a lot of teachers from different places around the world use it to talk to each other and ask questions. We've recently posted there, and also on our YouTube page, the kickoff broadcast where we show which games from previous years are leaving or rotating it out as we call it, and which games are joining. So this year and from now on, every year is going to be a mix of games. So if you've joined previously and you're like, wait, what's new this year? We have a brand new game for each division. So very exciting. Stage tabs, we're going to show you there's a new interface that's very cool and intuitive for teachers. And there's the red side training, which allows students to train not only on the blue side, but also on the red side. If you want to join the Facebook groups, it's called Teachers of CoderZ. And also one of our moderators is going to put a link in the Q&A section. Right. So these are the game for each division. We've already talked about the rotation, so Moonbase is no longer part of Novice. I don't want to, I think it's going to confuse you at this point, but essentially every division has 3 games which your students can play, not including the final challenge for junior and pro. I want to skip over this because you already know this part. Let's move on to the demo, which is, I think, is the best part. All right, so let me share my screen again. Just Randy, let me know if you can see the window right now. Can you see it?
Looking good, Ace.
Awesome. So first of all, I wanted to let you know that CoderZLeague.com has everything you need to know. So if I was talking too fast, first of all, you get a recording. Everyone who missed it, they get a recording to their email, so no worries there. And also on CoderZLeague.com or competition.gocoders.com, you can see all the information you need. We have the promo that you just watched on how it works. You have everything very simply put. And also you have our user guide, and there's a how it works video that explains everything is said way better. So if you have any questions about how the league works, you know, dates, structure, everything is here. Also contact us. And if you want to join, this also happens through this website. So be sure to write it down. Okay. The platform. Wow, I'm so excited whenever I get to this part. Right, so this is CoderZ. Here we see the interface for the competition. This is the stage tabs that I've talked to you about previously. So we talked about all the stages of the competition. They're all available here. It's a super simple interface. You as teachers, really, it couldn't be any simpler. You go to CoderZ, go to CoderZ League tab. In here, you see all the stages. Here you have this interface where you can invite students, create a new team, or see all the stages of the competition. We also have information. So once you hover over things, it's going to tell you, this is a demo league, so I can't show it right now, but you're going to have this small tooltip that's going to show you like, this stage is going to start in 12 days. This stage is going to be over in 5. And you can very easily move and see everything you need to know as teachers about the stage. You have a link to the leaderboard. You have a link to the activities that you still need to play. You can see your rank. You can see the score. You can see all students also see their score. Once you go here, you can see the points that every student got. So you can see when they will last log in. So you really have everything right there. So you don't need to ask your students, you can monitor everything. We also have what we call the heat map. So you can see the progress of your student and monitor it live. You can see their code on CoderZ website. So you have all the tools you need as teachers to lead your team successfully, and everything is here. Even if you forgot everything I told you, even or even did not attend this webinar, everything is very, very simplified and right here. We also have this bell button, which we call notifications. And throughout the competition, we're going to send you info with articles that are very short. It's like 2 minutes, 3 minutes read for every stage. And every time something new happens or something is around the corner, we're going to shoot you with a notification. And all you have to do is press it. It will redirect you to an article that says everything you need to know. So if for example, preliminaries start in a week, you're going to get this bell icon to show you like this red dot, just like in Facebook. You press it, it says, here's everything you need to know about the preliminaries, or here's everything you need to know about what's happening next week. So as I said, we are with you. We hold your hand as teachers throughout the whole competition, and we're always there to help you understand what's going on. So you don't need to memorize anything. If you feel a bit, like it's a bit too much or I'm running too fast, don't worry. We have everything right here. So this is kind of the interface. The last cool thing that I want to show you is Meet Zappy. This is one of our robots, and we can look into one of the missions. So as you see, our platform is super friendly and fun and colorful. Here is our robot. The missions. This is a mission. I would say it's one of the middle missions in one of our math games that I mentioned earlier called Disco Blocks. Right, Disco Blocks. And here, Zappy needs to get to the target and get as many points as possible. Our mission interface has two sides. One side is the robot, which we call the simulation, and this is what the kids control. So every student gets a robot of their own, and they complete missions at their own time. It's fully virtual. On the left side is the code. By the way, this is the novice division, so this is why it's very simple. And here we control what the robot does. Here we have like an HUD with information like how much time they have to complete the mission, how many points they can get. Here it's up to 240. And here are their blocks. Let's see if we can complete one mission live. Let's see if it works. So here we want Zappy to complete as many points as possible. Let's say our route is we want to do something like this shape, like go for the 20, then 50, 70, 10. We're going to collect minus 40 on the way. We can go, by the way, in reverse to get it back. And then the plus 40 and the 50, and then we'll get to the target. And let's see how many points this gets us.
By the way, what Yossi's just done, that's called pseudocode. Did anybody know that?
Yeah, a bit of trivia. Yeah, this is something we as developers do a lot. We kind of talk through what we want to do, and then we turn it into code. We have a toolkit here. Let's say I want to do the distance measure. So I press this button, and oh, look what happens. It moves to a top view so that it's much easier. So it's much easier for me to measure things. So I see Zappy here. So I checked this distance, and it seems like the distance is 2 meters. So I want to move 2 meters, and then, okay, so every single one is 2 meters, but here I need to move twice, so it's going to be 4 meters. So let's say turning this into code, right? I drag this block, I connect it, say, okay, so drive forward for 2 meters, and then we want to turn left. And I can right click and press duplicate, so it's super simple. And then go another 2 meters, so I'm right here. And then I duplicate this and I turn right. And then I want to go all the way, so I'll drive, but this time let's do 4 meters. And then I turn right again, so I'm here. And now I do again 4 meters. And then I turn right again. And then this time I want to do 2 meters. By the way, I feel like I could have used the loop here, which is all available as well. You see there's a repeat loop where students can put it and make their code a lot shorter. Some of the kids love to use it. Some of the students just want to do it this way. So I turned right, I go 2 meters, then I want to turn right one last time, and then I go for 2 more meters. I hope I didn't make a mistake because I was talking in the middle, but let's see, maybe if it's a mistake, we can fix it together. Let's press play and see what happens. So I press play, it immediately starts running. By the way, this highlights which part of the code is running right now. So now turning, going 2 meters, now 4 meters, turning right again. By the way, you can see the numbers changing, so it's very interactive, just like a mobile game. Turn right, 2 meters. Looks like we're gonna do it. And we made it to the target. Now we get 200 points. Mission accomplished. Ooh, that was exciting because I was thinking if I'm gonna make a mistake here, I'm gonna make a fool of myself.
It's live. It's live.
Yeah.
And there is a secret hack in disco blocks. I just want everybody to be aware. So, you know, let your kids know that there could be a way to hack this one.
Yeah, we've seen some very creative codes from students in this game, especially in the challenge. It gets way more intense, and students can find in the challenge. By the way, there's no limit to the amount of points they can get. We thought the limit was like in the end of 2020. I think the top points was like 250 or something. And then last year, some team got like 4,000. So I don't know, like that code was insane. I think they were turning in circles, but it was super, super funny.
The
and
amount of
interesting.
creativity is just, it's remarkable. I love it. Every year something new from these competitors.
Yeah, it's very easy to start and very hard to master, and that's how we want to get it. So students with their creative ways can find a ton of very unique solutions, and they can even make our minds explode sometimes. I finished. It says congratulations, you successfully completed adding it up, which is the mission's name. I can try again, or go to the next activity, or go back to the Learning Center. But I think for this demo, this is all I wanted to show. I'll go back to the presentation, and I'll hand it over to you, Randy.
Too kind. Are you waiting for me to bring up the slides? You want to bring them up yourself?
I'll bring out, no problem.
Thanks. Okay, gotcha.
I'm just yeah, I'm just moving on to the right slide. Right. And do you see what I'm sharing?
Looks great. Teacher's role. Perfect.
Awesome.
Yep. Alrighty. So has anyone heard Steve Wozniak's story about his favorite teacher? So his favorite teacher knew next to nothing about computer science. He even had to drop a level just so he could be in her class. You know what made him pick her class over the more advanced classes? It was that she actually cared about his ideas and his projects. She encouraged him. She motivated him to continue to be creative and to innovate. Do you see where I'm going with this? This is the role of coaches in the CoderZ League. At a minimum, just make sure your students have their accounts, that they're aware of the deadlines. Yossi mentioned the like, what was it called, Yossi? The updates with the bell over there.
Oh, the notifications.
The notification. Thank you. But most importantly, encourage them, motivate them, teach them grit. You don't need to have a background in coding or robotics to lead this. We got you covered with the user guides. And really from the larger perspective of what we're trying to do here at CoderZ, we're really trying to motivate these students to start to consider themselves a STEM person. We want to make sure that we are opening up the pathways for a possible career in STEM for these students. no matter what their background is. This, of course, this comes with our idea of equity and the idea that you don't need to have a background in coding or robotics, whether you're a teacher, whether you're a student. We really want to introduce those students to their to set them up for a possible pathway for their future. And that's really what's important for a teacher and this role. But all of the tools, everything that you need, it's at CoderZLeague.com. So please make a reference over there. Um, but really, if there's anything that we've taken away from this, be that person that Steve Wozniak was talking about, be that teacher that motivates, be that coach that motivates. Look at your team, make sure everybody has a role in the team, make sure that they're building those types of social and emotional learning skills that are going to continue their growth. And so that is in its biggest sort of, as a company, as a team, that's really our mission, is to set you guys up for allowing those students to on their pathway. So with that being said, Yossi, you're on the next one, bud. Is this one was you? I mean, basically, to give you guys an idea, CoderZ, being that it's web-based, being that it works on basic Chromebooks, we really are trying to step away from robotics as an elitist curriculum. We don't want there to be, groups of 8 students having to have their turn with a robot. We don't want one student to be, coding for an FLL team and the rest of the students are building the robot. We want everybody to be involved. We want everybody to be working on the types of things that are interdisciplinary and relevant. So with the fact that there's no physical robots required, that we have full accessibility for everybody in the room, that the live broadcasts are exciting. Yossi is going to be over there, and his counterpart will be over there in gaming chairs. And share it, talk about it, share it on social media. And these are really the benefits of the CoderZ League, and this is what we're trying to do. And we don't have to say it, of course. We have tons of teachers and tons of students. You saw that in the video, the impact that it has on these people. Of course, we don't even have to ask them for the references. They say, hey, can we tell people about it? And that's how we keep growing, and that's how we keep getting more users. Is we really just get more and more classrooms, more and more districts to join us every year, and we're growing. And of course, the only way we grow is we can send out emails to teachers, but it's really through the word of mouth. So let everybody know about it. The more the merrier. The more schools you have in your region, obviously it's going to be more fun. So please shout it from on top of the mountains, get more folks involved, because that's how it's going to get more fun each year. And do I have the ability to make the announcement? So if you're here today and you've purchased a team, CoderZ will allow you to have an additional team. If you are here at this webinar today, we will be happy to supply you with an additional team of 6 students if you've purchased a CoderZ team, or if you've purchased a team of 5. We'd be happy to give you an extra team if you attended this webinar today.
Yeah, that's a special deal only for webinar attendees. So we're going to give you a code either now on the Q&A and in the email. So you're going to get a code that would allow you to get $290 off, which is the price per team. So if you purchase, I think if you purchase 2 teams, you're going to get a third one on us, which is a $290 discount only for attendees. Right. Randy, do you want to recap?
Hey, I'm back. Yes, please, you can register at the CoderZLeague.com. We always are able to assist you. Like I said, I'm a district account manager, so I have my region that I assist. My other counterpart, Sally Robinson, is also taking really, really good care in North America as well. And we're excited. I continue to be excited. I hope that you all are as well. Keep up the energy, keep the faith, motivate those students, and we will see you at the event, and hopefully in the playoffs or in group stages, or we'll see you, the following year if you don't make it to playoffs. But again, thank you everybody for attending. Thank you to my colleague Yossi Gershon, and thank you to everybody again who's attended today, and thank you to my team for making these beautiful, beautiful slides that I get to talk about.
All right, thank you so much, Randy. It was a pleasure hosting it next to you. I also want to say registration is open right now. So if you want to join, go to CoderZLeague.com and register your teams. We're going to share the code via the email. So you're going to get a code through the email. It's going to give you a big discount. I want to emphasize one thing. Joining CoderZ League is a way for you to let your students have the first step into the STEM world. It's not about winning. It's about having fun. I want to say that teams, even if they don't make it into later stages, they have access to CoderZ League all the way throughout. So our goal is to have as many students engage, have fun. We see that teachers tell us that students who participated are getting more excited about STEM, and they are getting more engaged, and they're showing more interest in STEM subjects. And that's our goal. That's our mission. It's all about the teamwork. It's all about having fun. It's all about learning. So if the teams make it into later stages, that's awesome. But it's all about joining. If you join, you're already a winner. So thank you so much, everybody who joined. If you have any more questions, feel free to write them in the Q&A, and we'll send them back to you. Someone will contact you with the answer. Thank you so much, Randy Schwartz, for hosting this webinar with me. We're going to send you an email with a recording and answers and a code. So stay tuned. Thank you so much, and have a great one.
Electric. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.